This is the new 90mm Rollerblade Lightning. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. So today's video, I'm talking about the new Rollerblade Lightning, specifically in the 90mm. Just a couple months ago, I made a video doing a review of the new Rollerblade Lightning. So if you haven't already, go check that video out, because in that video, I talk very specifically about each part about the new Lightning skate. I'm using the 80mm in that video, but the boot of the 80 and 90 is actually exactly the same. Quick note, my 90mm boot in this video is a size 5, 5.5, and my 80mm boot is size 6, 6.5. So if the 80 looks bigger, that's why, but the boots are exactly the same in the same size. The only difference between the 80 and 90 is the wheels and the frames. So in today's video, I'm actually going to be talking specifically about the wheels, the frames, and the differences in between the 80 and the 90. Because some of you might be wondering, Coach Polly, which one should I get, the 90 or the 80? And I've actually gotten a few comments already asking me that exact question. So I'm here today to answer it, whether or not you want the 90mm or the 80mm. I'm going to start by talking about the frame lengths. As you can see, the 90mm has a longer frame length. So because it's longer, it's not as maneuverable, it's not as squirrely. So the shorter frame length, because it's more maneuverable, it's better if you're going to be making lots of tight turns, weaving through the city. For me, when I walk my dog, I prefer the 80s because I'm doing lots of stopping, lots of tight turning. If you end up going to a skate park, the 80 is going to be so much easier to weave around a bowl and maneuver around a skate park. If you want to get into slalom, going through cones, if you want to get into any kind of fancy footwork, tight turns, jump off of things, weave through things, little bops and spins and tricks, anything where you want the maneuverability and the quick feet. So these are 90mm wheels, which, as you can see, are bigger wheel. The bigger wheel is going to roll faster. It's also going to roll smoother over cracks and bumps. Because it's faster and smoother, the 90 is great if you're getting into distance, going in a straight line. You're going to get there faster. So you're going to get more power in a push. So when you push, your push is going to get you further. At the smaller wheel size, it's easier to accelerate on. It's easier to go quick feet, quick start, which is nice if you're like trying to run up a hill or have like a really tight space that you're trying to get a lot of speed on before you jump over a fence or something like that, where you need quick acceleration, tight space. Or this is better for trails, wide open spaces. You get your long, powerful, fast pushes, bigger wheels. I always like to say that the 80mm wheel is the perfect skate for a beginner. Most skates come standard with 80mm wheels. It's not too high off the ground. It's also more versatile. You can get an idea of which direction you want to go with your skating. Maybe you want to get into slalom, dancing, roller hockey. Roller hockey, 80 is going to be way better, way more maneuverable to weave around a hockey rink. But if you're sure, like, I'm going to go skate 20 miles every day, I'm going to do this for fitness, I'm going to get my cardio in, I'm going to put in the miles, and that's the direction I want to go with my rollerblading, but I'm a beginner and I need to learn the basics. Starting with 90, totally great idea. I wouldn't recommend starting with the 110, however, which is even bigger, even higher off the ground. It literally feels like you're on stilts. I don't recommend those for beginners. But 90 is actually a good big wheel skate, if you will, for a beginner, where you're not too high off the ground, but you still have a good skate for like the distance and all that. The 90 with the longer frame length is a little bit more stable, easier to stand on because it's a longer frame length, so you're a little bit more stable, a little bit more balanced. But the con side to that is that since your wheels are taller, you're higher off the ground. So it's actually a little bit harder to balance. So it kind of balances itself. So you might be wondering, Coach Polly, why are the 90s so much more expensive than the 80s if the boot's exactly the same? And it's really simply the wheels. The wheel size is a lot bigger, so they are going to last longer. They're more durable, which brings us back to distance, right? When you're distance skating, that's what's going to eat your wheels up the most. So the 80s aren't going to last as long, and you're going to have to replace them sooner. And the 90s just has more urethane. That's the cost. You're paying for a bigger, more long-lasting wheel. So there's pros and cons. I hope that I was able to maybe answer if the 80 or the 90 is right for you. One last question I want to answer for you today before we go has to do with Rollerblade brand in general. So some of you asked me, what's the difference in between men's and women's? I'm showing you the women's skates today. This is the women's 90 here. Some of you, I got someone that said, the color, really, I like the men's colors more, but I have a woman's foot. And then I had another person say to me, you know, I wear a woman's 11 and they don't make my size. And I want the Lightning skate. The only difference is the color and the way that they do the sizing. The women's skates are in women's sizing, so the men's sizes are in men's. So that means if you wear a woman's 11, for example, and the Lightning does not go up to size 11 in women's, unfortunately, but there is size men's 10. So a men's 10 is a woman's 11. A men's 9 is a woman's 10. A men's 4 is a woman's 5. If you see what I'm saying, you just plus 1. So if you want to skate the 90s, but you're like, pink is not my color, but I like the Rollerblade 90 and I like the tan, the men's size 8 is going to be exactly the same as the woman's size 9, other than the color. Okay, friends, I hope I answered all of your questions. If you have any more questions about the new Rollerblade Lightning, just go check out my other video, my Rollerblade Lightning review. I'm reviewing the 80s, but really I'm reviewing the boot. The boots are exactly the same. The feel, it's all exactly the same. The buckles, the components, the only difference, the frames and wheels. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you. I'll see you in the next video.